Welcome to Tattletale. Here's today's story. My roommate said I was too broke to hang with her friends, so I bought the house she's renting. I lived with Cara for almost 2 years. We weren't close. Not really. More like Craigslist roommates who tolerated each other through thin walls and passive-aggressive post-it notes. She was loud, polished, and obsessed with being seen. Her entire personality was curated like a Pinterest board up as color-coordinated, hair always done, phone full of perfectly filtered selfies. Me? I worked remote. Customer support for a tech company no one had heard of. Didn't dress up. Didn't post stories. Just tried to pay rent on time and not get in anyone's way. At first, she barely acknowledged me. Then slowly, over months, she started including me, inviting me out when her friends were short a +1, asking for my opinion on shoes, letting me borrow her portable charger like we were cool. I didn't think much of it. Until the night I got uninvited. She came home from work in full glam, heels clicking, perfume trailing, and peeked into my room with this weird tight smile. "Hey," she said, "so, tonight's kind of a thing?" I asked. "Like, my circle, a little more curated, fashion people, clients, I just think it might feel awkward if you came." I blinked. "Why would it be awkward?" She shrugged, avoiding eye contact. "You know, it's just, sometimes you give off this energy, like, broke girl energy, no offense." That part's dumb. She said it casually, like she was doing me a favor. Like telling someone they don't belong is some kind of spiritual charity. I didn't respond. I just nodded. And she left. That night, I sat on my mattress on the floor, staring at my laptop, refreshing the same freelance job boards I'd been scouring for months. And I made a decision. Not to cry. Not to confront her. But to never be in this position again. I was going to find a way out. And one day, she was going to have to knock on my door. I stopped talking to her after that night. Not in a dramatic way, just quiet. No more small talk in the kitchen. No more "how was your day?" while waiting for the kettle to boil. I became background again. And that's how I liked it. Because while she was out clinking glasses with people who thought clout was currency, I was working. Not harder, smarter. I started by flipping my schedule. Worked customer support during the day, freelance at night. Content audits. UX rewrites. Even ghostwriting LinkedIn posts for startup founders too busy to sound human. The money wasn't great at first, but it stacked. I learned to live lean. Ate oatmeal, wore the same hoodie until the sleeves frayed, and funneled every spare peso into savings in a small crypto pool that, for once, didn't tank. Then I hit my first break. A contract job for a fintech client in Singapore. 3-month trial, remote, flexible hours. They needed someone who could write copy and handle user feedback loops. I pitched myself like my life depended on it. Because it kind of did. I got the gig. And halfway through the trial, they doubled my rate. Cara didn't notice. She was too busy complaining about gas prices while sipping iced lattes that cost half my old weekly budget. The weird thing was, the better I did, the more invisible I became to her. She stopped inviting me to things completely. Started locking her door even when she wasn't home. Once, I heard her laugh on the phone and say, "No, my roommate's harmless, she's basically a ghost." She wasn't wrong. I was a ghost. But ghosts see everything, including the little eviction notice stuck under our door one morning. Cara didn't see it yet, but I did, and I smiled. Cara found the notice 2 days later. She burst into the kitchen, waving it like it personally insulted her. "Can you believe this?" she snapped. "The landlord's selling, says we have 30 days to get out. What kind of psycho gives that short a notice?" I looked up from my laptop, feigning surprise. "Oh, that sucks." She narrowed her eyes. "You don't seem too worried, I'll figure something out." Truth was, I'd already figured it out. Because I knew something she didn't. The landlord? She wasn't just selling. She was desperate. Her son was sick, and the medical bills were piling up. The place had sat on the market for months, and no one bid. The neighborhood wasn't trendy enough for investors, and the bones were too old for flippers. But I saw something else. Location. Lied. Structure. And potential. So I made a call. Not to a bank. To the fintech startup that had just hired me full-time. They'd been pushing relocation. I said I'd consider it on one condition: they loaned me the deposit for a property I'd live and work out of until I made the move. They said yes. And just like that, I was pre-approved. The paperwork took a week. During that time, Cara complained daily about having to apartment hunt about flake agents, about how gross studio units were and how someone like her deserved better. I didn't say a word. Until the morning she walked into the living room fresh from another failed viewing and found me sitting at the kitchen table with a pen in my hand. "What's that?" she asked. "Contract," I said. "For what?" I turned it around. Your new lease. She stared at the paper for a solid 10 seconds, blinking like she was trying to process a joke. Then she laughed. That forced, nasal kind of laugh she did when she thought someone was embarrassing themselves. Wait, you bought this place, she said, eyes wide with disbelief. You were kidding, right? I didn't flinch. No? She laughed again. With what? Loyalty points. I pushed the lease closer to her. Your rent won't go up, I said. But the Wi-Fi will finally work, and I'm fixing a bathroom fan. Her smile faltered. You're serious? I just looked at her. And that's when something shifted behind her eyes. A flicker of calculation. Like her brain was sprinting to recategorize me from invisible roommate to person she couldn't control. She didn't like it. So what? You're my landlord now? No, I said. I'm the owner, you're just leasing. She crossed her arms, still trying to find a ledge to grab onto. This is messed up. You should have told me. Why? I asked. You made it clear we weren't friends. Silence. The kind that stretches and echoes. I stood, gathering the rest of the papers. You have 30 days to sign, or find somewhere else, your choice. I walked past her toward my room, and just before I closed the door, I heard her whisper you were never supposed to win. I didn't respond, because I already had. The next few weeks were quiet. Not peaceful, just tense in that low boil and sad way. Kara moved around the apartment like a ghost haunting her own story. She still curled her hair every morning, still took mirror selfies in the hallway, still posted filter brunch pics like her world hadn't tilted sideways. But the edge was gone. She didn't speak to me unless she had to. Didn't ask for favors. Didn't slam doors the way she used to when she thought the place was hers to disrupt. She signed the lease on day 29. Slid it under my door without a note. The signature was messier than I expected. I filed the documents. Set up automatic payments. Had the locks changed and gave her the new code with a text that read, *** effective next month. ***, no emojis. No softening. A week later, I hosted my first tenant inspection. It wasn't petty. It was policy. I knocked on her door at 10:00 a.m. sharp. She opened it half-dressed, mascara smudged, clearly not expecting me to follow through. I walked through the unit like a stranger, checked the outlets, made notes about the peeling paint, nodded politely. She stood awkwardly near the bed, arms crossed. Anything else, she asked. I looked at her, really looked. And I saw it. That flicker of recognition. That she wasn't the main character anymore. That the story had shifted. Yet I said, don't leave the windows open during typhoon season, the cell's starting to warp. She didn't respond. Just nodded. And as I left the room, I realized she still hadn't asked how I did it. Because deep down she knew. I didn't do it to impress her. I did it to leave behind. After that, she stayed out of my way. Rent came in on time. No noise complaints. No perfume fogging the hallway. Just silence. The kind that says, I know I lost. I spent less time in the apartment anyway. My team expanded. The fintech company was thriving. They flew me out for a leadership summit in Seoul, offered me a hybrid position with housing covered if I agreed to scale the regional team. I accepted. But I kept the apartment. Not out of spite. Out of strategy. Rental income covered my student loans within months. I used the surplus to start a fund one meant for people like me. Quiet builders. Broke girls with laptops and enough for age to launch a business. Kara didn't know any of that. She just thought I was gone. One night she messaged me. Just a single line. ***, you subletting your room. ***, I waited a full day before replying. ***, no. I still own it. ***, no emoji. No kindness. Just fact. She left on her own a few months later. Didn't say goodbye. Didn't leave a forwarding address. And when a new tenant moved in, an artist who painted on weekends and never raised her voice, I realized something. That apartment wasn't my revenge. It was my origin. The place where I learned that invisibility isn't weakness. It's fuel. Because some people talk. Others build. And by the time the talkers notice, the builders already own the foundation.